This is Beartooth News Today.
Hello, I'm Ernan Garcia, and here's your news today. Hello, I'm Ernan Garcia, and here's your news today. Okay, so that was my first time in a motor kart. Fencing has been referred to as the chess of all sports. These cyclists are going to start cycling at St. Mary's Campground of America. This kale has got to be super healthy. It's not regular kale, it's white Russian. What is it?
White Russian.
A bike plus all the necessary equipment needed can start anywhere from $4,000 to $7,000. These green beans, carrots, red potatoes, and raspberries are as fresh as it's going to get. Now this is a global positioning system, and it's going to help lay down that foundation. They're marching all around downtown Helena. Only a handful of schools here in Montana have longer class sessions. He says it's a hovercraft that can hold 200 pounds. I'm around 202. They can expect to sell between $1,000 and $5,000. But apparently throwing a football is the same motion as serving in tennis, so I might be a natural. This robot can go into a dangerous situation and retrieve explosives while keeping people safe at a faraway distance. You won't have to find yourself counting calories if you make the right choices.
All right, thank you very much, Ernan. And
for more news, weather, and sports, join us here at 6 and 10 o'clock tonight. For more news, weather, and sports, join us here at 6 and 10 o'clock tonight. Have a great day.
Beartooth NBC's Ernan Garcia spoke with the man who turned in the Unabomber and why he is against capital punishment.
The search for Theodore Kaczynski, the infamous Unabomber, ended in Lincoln, Montana. For more than 15 years, he eluded the Federal Bureau of Investigations by hiding out in a remote cabin with no running water and no electricity. FBI officials say Kaczynski probably would have never been caught if it weren't for the help of his own younger brother, David.
First, I completely dismissed it because Ted had never been violent. He'd been a good and a kind older brother. I loved him very much. It wasn't until I read the Unabomber's manifesto in October of 1995 that I got a kind of real sinking feeling, and I thought, wow, this might be serious. Some of this does sound a little bit like Ted.
David says his family was deeply torn apart when the revelation came that his brother could possibly be the Unabomber.
We'd feel responsible knowing that we had been in a position to save that person's life. On the other hand, we also realized that if we turned Ted in and he was convicted, these were capital crimes, there was a fair chance that he would be executed at some point. And I had to ask myself, what would it be like to go through the rest of my life with my brother's blood on my hands?
David says if anything would have prevented him from turning in his brother, it would have been the death penalty. David is now working with the Montana Abolition Coalition in hopes of ending capital punishment in the Treasure State. In Helena, Ernan Garcia, Beartooth NBC. As if you weren't already worried about saving money during America's financial crisis. Food prices are going up, gas is fluctuating up and down, and now with the winter conditions here early, you can expect your energy bill to begin skyrocketing. But unlike problematic Wall Street, you can actually do something tomorrow to help make your home more energy efficient.
Well, I'd say insulation is the first and foremost thing that you should consider when you're trying to keep your energy costs down. You know, there's an old expression that the person's body heat is lost through their head, and that's why you wear a hat. Well, your house needs a hat, and it's got to keep the insulation in there.
Home technician Bob Webster says owners of older homes should really look into adding more insulation. He says builders weren't thinking about being energy efficient back in the 60s and 70s. And don't forget, you can prevent most of the heat from escaping your house from windows and doors by simply using a rubber wet seal like this one. You attach it through your door and windows, and it'll prevent the heat from escaping, and in the long run, save you money. Other tips include washing clothes in cold water. By doing that, you can save 36 cents for every load. Also, using a more energy-efficient light bulb can help save you more than $30 over the lifetime of each lamp.
For a 60-watt traditional bulb, you got 60 watts for light. With a compact fluorescent, to get the same equivalent of lumens that a 60-watt light bulb would put out, you're actually only using 14 actual watts of power.
And yet another tip, if you have ceiling fans, reverse their direction to push the air downwards. In Helena, Ernan Garcia, Beartooth NBC. Rowdy Wysocki and his good buddy Brandon Posha woke up at 2 o'clock this morning to scout for doe tracks just 20 miles outside of Helena. The two were hunting until 9 this morning before they decided to head back home to reload.
A box of 30-30, 150s, and a Region 3 white-tailed doe.
Rowdy has been hunting for 7 years and is showing his 15-year-old friend the ropes. The duo is in search of white-tailed doe, a prey they say can be very eluding. Roddy, how long are you going to be hiking, and how long do you think you're going to be waiting before you can catch a deer?
As far as hiking goes, probably 2-3 miles. As far as catching the deer, it's really depending on them if they come or not.
Roddy says he is hopeful to catch one before the day ends. Scott Cannoli and his family woke up at 5:30 and were hunting before sunrise. They waited a couple of hours before spotting their first catch.
Kind of sat till this, morning came and didn't see any elk where we were, heard a bunch of shooting and everything, so we decided to drive out.
As the family piled into their pickup truck, they were struck with a bit of good fortune.
This bull had crossed the road in front of us, so we all jumped out of the truck, and I ran up off the road and ended up shooting him, and that was it. Got him down.
Before catching the elk, Scott's son caught 2 deers by bow and arrow.
We provide for quite a few people, so we usually try to get 2-3 elk down in a year.
In Helena, Ernan Garcia, Beartooth, NBC.